Good afternoon. Hi, my name is Kelly Lewis. I'm with Lewis Strategic. I'm very honored and pleased to be working with the Pennsylvania Gigabit Revolution. We are concluding a week-long effort to do meetings from Bucks County all the way to Adams County, and now we're back to finish cleanup here in York County. We've got a lineup that's going to be great today to talk about broadband and the infrastructure that's going to run the innovation economy. Very pleased to bring up with us our Congressman, Scott Perry, from York County. Scott, Congressman.
Yes, sir.
I told you I was going to bring you up quick.
Well, it's good to know that you saved the best for last here in York County. So, the gigabit revolution, I mean, every single day there's something new, right? So we deal a lot on homeland security, and cybersecurity is a big issue. And I was just meeting with a vendor, a whole host of vendors, and he was talking to me about a toothbrush he has that tells his dentist how long he brushes his teeth and actually tells which surfaces and how long it's on which surface and so on and so forth. Now, but just think about that on the face of it, all right? Just think about that. Like, I don't necessarily want the dentist to know that, quite honestly, right? I got enough criticism in my life. I don't need any from him. And whatever happens in there is going to be obvious anyhow. But the vulnerability of that data, is an issue. And then a few months before this, I was meeting with the former NSA director who was just kind of joking about some things. And he said, listen, don't leave your toaster plugged in. And we all kind of chuckled. He said, no, seriously, don't leave your toaster plugged in, and literally have toasters that are plugged into this thing called the Internet of Things, which is a new terminology that you might not have heard of. I heard about it a few months ago. And it is literally the Internet of Things, about the Fitbits that's on your wrist apparently to the toothbrush that you might be brushing your teeth with. That's all connected, and it's all connected through something. And when you put that with the fact that we are 9th among countries in the speed of the internet. I think, didn't we invent the internet? Didn't it start here and we're 9th? How is it that 30% of people in the United States don't have access to broadband speeds and capability? And you think to yourself, in this global environment, this competitive world, how are we going to be? How are our citizens? How are we going to be competitive? How are they going to find the opportunities and that exist in the world and reach their full potential if we're driving a Model T, if we're hanging on to the buggy whip, right? So that's what I think this is about to me, and we're just privileged. It's great to have this happening right here in our county by great people that are invested in our community, that come from here and have the vision for this. So my job today is just to welcome you to the conversation. If you haven't heard about it before, maybe pick your interest in a few things, and to bring home why this is all important. And when settlers and the founders came to our country, they found the towns and cities along the rivers, because that's where commerce happened, that's where communications happened, trade, travel, all that stuff happened along, because that's where it happened. And in this era, the internet and connectivity, this is the new river, right? This is where it happens. And so we got to this is America. This is where everything is pioneered. We're in front of the rest of the world on all these things. We can't afford to get behind. And way, when you think that we're already 9th, we're 9th now, we already are behind. So we need to get in the game. And so we appreciate your awareness and attendance here today, and your interest in helping the cause. So thank you. Welcome here.
Congressman, thank you, and thank you for your leadership in Washington, and we appreciate it when you were in Harrisburg as well. It's been a long time since a company's made major investments into American broadband. Every year, the industry invests billions of dollars, the companies that are already here. But to get a new company to invest millions hasn't happened since before 2008. When there was major broadband investment all over the world to lay the lines under the oceans and connect the internet to where it got to. UFD is a game changer. United Fiber and Data is investing millions into the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, into an infrastructure that does not exist right now. And I'm very pleased to be part of this project just for that fact. I ran the trade group for the tech industry for almost 8 years. Every day we were talking about the need for more broadband, more affordable broadband. And the companies were meeting the challenge then, but now we have a new paradigm here, right here in York County. And I'm very pleased to introduce Bill Hines, who's leading the United Fiber and Data. Bill Hines. You're over there.
Hello, everyone. I shouldn't have walked past those chocolate chip cookies. I want to stay over there. So just give you an update on UFD. United Fiber and Data is a competitive local exchange carrier. So what that means for you is absolutely nothing. But what it means for, the world and the United States is something powerful, actually. And I always say when they throw out the word CLEC, and it's almost like saying R2D2, C3PO. It's like, what are all these, letters they're throwing at me? Basically, it allows us to compete with the big boys, the AT&Ts, the Verizons of the world, and it allows them to play fairly with us. So we can do things that they can't, and obviously they can do things that we can't. Obviously, the barrier to entry into this type of business is, as Kelly said, very expensive. So myself with 3 members of the multi-platinum rock band Live, who are from York, PA, started this company a few years ago. And, I had an idea when I was playing baseball. And I was like, got an idea. Typically, I take my ideas to Chad Taylor and the guys and okay, that's a pretty good idea. And so currently, we've had some mistakes in the past and some things that happened, but we're on the right track now, and we learned from those mistakes, and we're on our way. We in February had a Hudson River crossing, which is a huge milestone for us, and currently we're on our way to Newark, New Jersey, where we'll connect with one of the largest carrier hotels in the United States. A couple weeks ago, we connected to 111 8th Avenue. It is the largest technological building in the world at 2.8 million square feet. We have 2 entries into there, and a little company by the name of Google owns this building. So we're signing on some pretty important customers. And, UFD has always been more than just a brick and mortar company, than about, making money. It's been about giving back. It's been about connectivity with people, and that's even the foundation of what the band Live was, originally formed on. It's about connecting people. It's about, just doing something for the good of man, not focusing on money. And then, what the byproduct is that you'll have that to, touch people's lives and to give back to the community. So it's no secret. I'm a veteran. It's like I got this jacket on for that reason, and I typically look for veterans charities and different things, to help with veterans. I have a lot of friends that serve with me in, a few different conflicts, and, they're out there. Some of them are homeless, and you try to help them, and some of them get caught in drug addiction and, PTSD. So Representative Schreiber introduced me to this Mr. Sandy's Homeless Veteran Shelter in York, and I just want to tell you a little bit about it first. It's the first homeless center for veterans in York. It was opened in October of 2015. Miss Sandy Walker, Sandy's daughter, who has taken on her father's vision of a walk-in center for veterans in the York area. It's located on West King Street. I encourage everyone to go down there and see if you can help out and maybe even send a little donation. It has enough space for 22 people. We want to try to get those numbers up. The facility provides food, clothing, and a place to sleep, along with services that include mental health, counseling, bus fare, prescription medicine, and dental assistance. So it provides all these services for homeless veterans. Obviously, it's near and dear to my heart. Obviously near and dear to Scott Perry's heart, who's actually a general in the military as well. I want to call up Sully Pinos from Representative Schreiber's office, and I want to present her a check to give to Mr. Sandy's Homeless Veteran Center for $5,000 from United Fiber and Data. So it's about giving back to the community.
Sorry, I'm not as tall as you. Okay. Hi, everybody. Like Bill said, I'm Sully Pinos from Representative Schreiber's office, and we just can't thank you and UFD and the Gigabit Revolution enough for supporting this great community initiative by Sandy Walker. She's very thankful for this donation that we're receiving on her behalf, and Representative Schreiber and Mr. Sandy have had a long relationship before, and in his passing, we have worked very closely with Sandy to make sure that they have everything that they need to have the facility open and up and running. So again, thank you so much, and like Bill said, it's on West King Street, so if you have a day off or you have a couple of hours to spare, they are always looking for some helping hands, so feel free to stop by. Thank you again. Thanks.
Thank you, Sully. So with UFD, we're about that. We're about community, and we've made many donations that I don't have to go into. I mean, the one of them I'm proud of, I should say, is our little famous dog Dargo. So he's there protecting New York citizens, and that's what we're about. We're some people write things about us in the paper that just aren't true, and that upsets me. But me and the guys from Live, we're not leaving. We're staying here, and we're gonna build this company. We're gonna create many jobs. They're gonna be available for everyone, and we're gonna partner with Dominic and the college and get people the training they need, and and get people and basically reverse economic inequality in this city. So thank you, everyone, and thanks for coming.
Bill, thanks so much, and to your whole company, thank you for that generous donation and for the major investment you're making into the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to help so many organizations. More than 215 organizations are participating in this project. Some of the largest employers in Pennsylvania are in this project. Actually every intermediate unit is in this project. All the community colleges are in this project. We have worked hard, our team has worked so hard to bring everybody in that we could to get the best engineering results in our project that John's going to give an update in a moment. We've had a chance to meet so many fascinating companies. We put together a report, and one of the challenges of putting this report together was that there's so many amazing companies that we couldn't fit in, or it would have been 100 or 200 pages long. But this is an outstanding representation of the great companies in our state. We started on Monday at the Pennsylvania Biotechnology Center, and I said this then, and I'll say it at every meeting going forward. I mean, they discovered the cure for hepatitis C in the state of Pennsylvania, in Doylestown, and it's been one of the profound things that's happened in medicine the past 2 years. And we were very pleased to have 2 meetings there, and we're going to have monthly meetings there going forward. They're very interested in broadband and what the gigabit technology could do for their research. I want to give an opportunity to have a couple organizations come up and say some remarks. Rob Kennedy is with Vassant. And Rob, where are you? Right here. Rob, come on up and say a few words about your company. And you're allowed to clap.
Good afternoon. Before I start, I'd like to make an announcement that my wife and I were battling our 2-month-old son last night. So please excuse me if I have to refer to my notes, but I'm going to try and talk to you directly. So by show of hands, who here is familiar with the butterfly effect? Most, a good amount of you. For those of you who do not know, roughly defined, it's where a small action in some point in time has a significant and greater effect on something in the future point in time, right? Well, I don't have a huge amount of time to talk about chaos theory, so today I'll focus on other things, but near the end of my time, I will come back to this point after explaining some things about how the in Pennsylvania can not only, more importantly, help cure baldness. That's right. So why me? Like many, my story is pretty familiar for new residents. I found my way into York, Pennsylvania several years ago as a transplant from Maryland. And York was a good fit for us. It was central between my tech job in Mechanicsburg at the time, my wife's job in Maryland. So fast forward to today, I'm now a hiring manager at Systems, and Vassant is a local commercial software company in the York area whose complex software systems requires very skilled software engineers. As a hiring manager, it's extremely difficult for me to find the talent we need locally. It took us over 6 months to find the talent to fill 3 positions last year, and we still have a software developer position available as of today. So because of this, I asked myself, why is there a shortage of talent in the area? There are several colleges, York College being one of those, with good technology programs, and what can be done? And at the end of this session of deep thought, I finally concluded it's most likely the infrastructure, stupid. there's no affordable infrastructure to support the technology companies needed to keep the talent in this area. And that's when I kind of broke out the search engine and started searching for a solution and came across UFD and the Gig Revolution mission. And to say the least, I was pretty stoked. So, of course, I'm happy. I reached out to them via their Facebook page, and I suggest you all do the same and hit like. I met with Bernadette and Heather, and now I'm very privileged to share some of the thoughts that I shared with them with you guys. So as you'll probably hear today, there's real opportunity to grow our local economy, and there's some large groups that are working to make this a reality, but there needs to be some significant community grassroots action in order to quickly bring this to a reality. As a community, I believe that we need to encourage and expand on more STEM-related activities and studies in local public and collegiate schools. Similar to the programs that we see at York College, like the York Business Academy, what they do for entrepreneurship, we need to support and expand STEM-related camps for children and young adults so that they can learn and grow as well. We need new and existing businesses in our area to become vested in those programs, knowing that they're investing in the employees of the future. We need to organize and build an innovation and technology park that attracts tech companies and provides jobs, but more importantly, job competition, because that drives the salaries that these STEM students want and are willing to stay in the area for. Finally, in creating these new opportunities for high-paying jobs, it's important to note the trickle-down effects that expand and grow other industries in the area, such as food, construction, and health. This creates an enormous opportunity for additional tax revenue that stays in the local area. And that's extremely important, right? It's important especially for cities like York. So, by now you're probably wondering, he's gabbering, and how is this going to cure baldness, right? So to answer that, I bring you back to the butterfly effect. When we have the infrastructure to support a vibrant telecommuting community and have the opportunity to avoid the stress of a daily commute, and we all know how stressful I-83 can be, here's the fun fact. Studies have shown that stress hormone cortisol has a direct relation to losing your hair, right? So, if we simply reduce the amount of daily stressful commuting, think of all the heads of hair we can actually save for this, right? So in conclusion, it's a big effect, right? So in conclusion, I have a call to action for each of you personally, and it's a plan that I'm going to follow myself. And that is to talk to your family, your neighbors, your friends, your coworkers, your employees, your managers, and talk to them about everything you've heard here today. And then think of how a technology renaissance, because that's what this is, a technology renaissance in this area is going to improve your community overall. Get involved personally by letting your local, state, and federal representatives know that you support the gigabit revolution in Pennsylvania and you want their support from all levels as well. And then finally, I need you all to dream big. Be an advocate and be the butterfly and bring this all to a reality. Thank you.
Rob, thank you so much. So this is caused by driving so much. Bill, we have a cure. So thanks so much for those great remarks. And everything you said is so true. And this project is starting here. It's going to spread around the world and back. Because when the gigabit comes here and gets affordable, it's going to just have many reverberations around the world. We've had so many supporters for the gigabit revolution. It started out in the first meetings we had, it was a struggle to get 5 people in the room. And now we're getting hundreds of people in the room. And we've got 200 technology action plans. But the county that first embraced us was York County. And the commissioners came out to our events. Commissioner Riley's been at every event. We've got Commissioner Burns and Commissioner Hoke here today. Thank you so much for your support. There's been no meeting in Pennsylvania. Yes, thank you. We had 2 commissioners in Adams County, so I'm all about competition. You'll hear this all day, but we have 3 commissioners here in York County, so you guys win. Over the top. We got the most commissioners involved. Some of the counties, maybe toward the east, it's a little struggle even to get a meeting with a commissioner, so we're really pleased with the support here. We got local governments involved in the technology action plans in York County. There's really the groundwork, framework, the foundation to build big things right here. One of the organizations that has been with us since the beginning has been York College. They've been knee-deep in understanding how important this is to their school, and we want to give Dominic a chance to say hello from York College. Dominic, thank you.
I appreciate the opportunity to say just a few words about York College and higher education's role in all of this. I love old houses. The first old house I bought, I went right down to work on doing drywall and other kinds of features and forgot that plumbing and electricity come first. And in some ways, I look at York City and I think, we're seeing a lot of urban renewal, we're seeing new shops popping up, but there is something under the surface that needs to be there to create a successful community, and that's really important to us in higher ed as well. Higher ed's an industry in trouble, frankly. It's not just, and I'm not talking specifically about York College here, but in general, people are questioning the value of higher education. And we need a new model, and the new model needs to break down some old boundaries. We, for example, continue to distinguish between online and physical education, face-to-face education. That's an absurd distinction because all learning is online now, whether it be in a classroom or not. All the learning it happens that way, and all students need to learn that way. And in order to really be part of the educational system as it now exists, not the educational system from the Middle Ages, we need to think beyond the book. We need to think beyond the classroom. We need to educate in the community. And that's my job. I'm the dean for our Center for Community Engagement, is to help our students find places in our community where they can actually learn among the rest of you who are in industry and business and local leaders, government leaders. That's what we're attempting to do. So that distinction needs to go between online and physical education. It is all online. However, online education creates community that is physical as well. And so we need to get our students off campus and into your businesses where they can work with technology. But as Rob noted, those businesses have to be technologically savvy enough to keep our students here in town afterwards. So our hope is that the growth from the Gigabit Revolution will help to create the kinds of jobs and the kind of internships and frankly the kinds of classes from the very start that students can learn out in the community so that when they graduate, they're really ready to hit the ground running, and it will no longer be a question whether or not higher ed is worth it. And finally, I will say that we must also stop thinking about that the difference between physical and higher education in another way, and that is there are no physical limitations to colleges anymore. There is no reason why our NASDAQ financial trading lab can't be connected to the real trades that happen on Wall Street through this kind of technology, and our students can't learn to work with real money in real time through those sorts of things. We have a large criminal justice program and a growing intelligence analysis program, and that needs secure lines for our students to actually do work from York College to Washington and to New York City. So that's an important piece of what we do. But we also need to think about how it is that these physical locations here in the city can develop for our students in ways that allows them to do that real work and real play with technology. Our students are innovators. They are better at innovation than we are. They have new ideas and they are fearless. And I want them out in your companies, working with you, showing us new ways to think. Very few of us in this room are digital natives, if any of us are, but our students are. This is how they grew up, and we can put them at the disposal of this community to work with all of you, bring new ideas, bring new creativity while they are students, and then after they are students if there's a reason to stay in town. So this is a really exciting thing for us at York College. We build that kind of strong, technologically savvy community, and we will be a better college for that. So thanks very much. I appreciate the time.
Dominic, thank you, and thank you for York College and your early engagement and support and hosting us a couple of times for some meetings. Higher education uses so much broadband. K through 12 uses a tremendous amount of broadband, and you're going to find some pricing differentials in our project that just demonstrate how advanced your intermediate unit here in York County is for broadband. We had a great opportunity to have tech girls come here in April, and then we also had them come to our Pottstown meeting. And one thing you're going to hear about in our technology action plans moving forward when we compile everything is there's more than 600 job openings in just 6 counties of Pennsylvania. And many of them are tech jobs, and we don't have enough technology workers in the state of Pennsylvania. So one thing that we need is get more women involved in technology. And Tech Girls has been at the gate. It's a great organization founded in Pennsylvania. We need to get more boys in technology as well. We need more girls in technology because when we get this gigabit technology, and we're going to get it, and we're going to make it affordable, we're going to need more technology workers. There's a whole boatload of people leaving these counties and commuting other places to work in the technology industry. When we get the gigabit technology affordable, they're going to work here. They're going to live, they're already living here. They're going to work here too. So in November, we got together and Heather Grip took over the project for UFD, and it's been going 1,000 miles an hour since Heather took over the project. We've covered 6 counties many times. I don't know how many miles we've driven, but Heather's been a great leader of the project. She's been so instrumental in getting the technology action plans gathered up and getting the engineering all facilitated, keeping us in line to make sure we were focused on our goals. So I want to give Heather Grip an opportunity to give an update on the gigabit revolution. Heather.
Good afternoon. Thank you everyone so much for coming. I really appreciate your attendance. I'm going to talk a little bit about what the gigabit revolution is, just real quick for anyone who doesn't know. So UFD was given a grant by the state of Pennsylvania, the Department of DCD, and we did a feasibility and engineering study on 6 different communities in Pennsylvania to see how they would benefit from our line, our backbone fiber line coming through this area. So one of the things that we did in that feasibility engineering study was surveys. So in the 6 communities, we surveyed about 600 people, and we found that 60% of those people had no knowledge of what gigabit per second internet was, nor what benefits came along with that. That's over half of the people that we surveyed. So we learned from that we still have a big digital divide and a lot of digital inclusion work left with this project. Another survey finding was that 87% of people in these 6 communities have access to the internet. That sounds like a huge number now, but if you think about just today, how many times you have used the internet, just today, 13% of people don't have access to the internet, and that's huge, and that actually makes us above the national average. The national average is 89% of people that have access to the internet. So take a second and think about how much you use the internet and how valuable this could be to everyone. The advantages of having gigabit per second internet are higher per capita GDP, higher home values, more infrastructure in your communities, more jobs, more resources. Everything about it is great. So please take this opportunity to learn from us, spread the word, as everyone has said to you today, I know, but just keep us informed, keep in contact with Bernadette, Kelly, myself, everyone from the Gigabit Revolution, and we want to make this a reality. Thank you guys for coming.
Heather, thank you so much. When we started getting our project finalized, we wanted to give everyone that took the time to participate a technology action plan. And we met many times with DCED, Sherry Collins, and Jennifer Leinbach to map out all the different things that we could put into a technology action plan and add value not only to each local municipality and to the county, but also to the state. So all these different participating organizations, we did technology action plans for them. It rolls up into a county plan that we'll be sharing with the commissioners today and going forward, with advanced engineering studies for the commissioners and their economic development groups. And it also rolls up all 6 counties into a DCED report. Governor Wolf has been a strong supporter of the innovation economy. And I know the press goes crazy on all the things going on in Harrisburg, but I know the Governor Wolf I know has been very much in front of the innovation economy and very supportive of this project. DCED has been very supportive of this project on trying to maximize the opportunities in Bucks County, Montgomery County, Berks County, Lancaster County, York County, and Adams County. How can we maximize the opportunity for UFD fiber running through the state? How can we maximize the opportunity for all the existing broadband providers already doing business here? How can we put everything together on a silver platter for them to bid on all the different opportunities? So in the Technology Action Plan, we give a little blurb on the executive summary and a company description for every company. Because these roll up into the county and the state plans, we want to give as much opportunity to promote the companies that step forward to be part of the project. We want to promote them. We've been doing tweets and Twitters and likes and Facebook things, all for the companies, trying to raise awareness of the things going on in the 6 counties. We've talked about job postings, over 600 job postings. And then we're trying to work with all the different providers, like the Manufacturers Association and Mantech, have been knee-deep with us and partners with us from the time we started. They've got the workforce training. They spread the word on job postings so that we can fill the jobs and keep moving forward. I'm looking at the list for York County. Almost every possible company and organization is involved in York County, and it's a credit to all of you. You've done some outreach, you've talked, you've shared the news of what we're trying to do, and we have so many companies participating that the maps in York County are so robust compared to the other counties. There's a great opportunity for what we did in April. We took all the 200 organizations, we put them together, we put some maps together, and we put them out into a RFP for broadband, a request for proposal. Deliker Strategies is the leading broadband aggregation company in the state, maybe the nation. Jim Frank, raise your hand. He's working with Kevin Deliker. Kevin Deliker started the concept of broadband aggregation way back when, in 2003, I believe, for Capital IU. They did a broadband aggregation. He had left DCD and started this project, and they lowered the cost of megabit per second at the IU. And then he did it at Colonial IU. And then it just kept spinning out, and all the IUs started doing broadband aggregation amongst the school districts. So we put that together. We issued it out. 24 different broadband companies have requested the RFP. On April 29th, they're going to issue back their solutions. We let them craft a solution. They know their network better than anyone. And they're going to look at all the different counties and all the different participating organizations and come up with solutions to provide gigabit connectivity. In some situations, it might just be 10 megabit at a very affordable prices, or 100 megabit at affordable prices. But our goal not only is to spread out gigabit connections and fiber, but we want to lower the cost per megabit. And probably the most striking thing that we found in this entire project is how expensive broadband is in the state of Pennsylvania. Shocking, staggering. The words are unbelievable on what some organizations, some very large organizations that you would think have gigantic purchasing power in the market, are extremely overpaying for broadband in the state. And then 2 doors down, a company's paying a much better rate. So we hope to share some information on pricing so that everybody can sharpen their pencil going forward. So I wanted to give a chance for John Dolmich of Big Wireless, another great company based in York County with 100 employees. They do work all over the United States for some of the largest broadband providers in the world. They're based here. John's the most passionate guy about York County that I've met. He's also the most tan guy in York County that I've ever met. But I want to give John a chance to give an update on our engineering studies inside the Technology Action Plans. John Dolman.
You know, unfortunately, they're not going to let me walk around today because, you know, out of all the meetings that we've had, this is the one I look forward to the most. And, you know, for those of you that were in the initial meeting, you know, York's really important for me. I mean, I was born and raised here. I have a technology company here I started 25 years ago. And I'm going to say the same thing that you've heard before. We can't find technology workers. Our situation was actually a little bit worse. The last 12 software developers that we've hired live outside of this state. We can't find them. Can't find them anywhere in this state. So when this project was brought to me, I looked at it as a way to basically spread the knowledge and try to get this golden nugget of York and get people excited about this type of project. Because I travel all over the United States. I see firsthand what these other cities are doing. And I don't see York County moving. And I tell people, if you really don't pay attention to what I'm going to tell you and what you see here today, we will go the way of the steel towns. It's a fact. I'm not joking, you know, and I need this town to work. I do, because my business is here. I make money here. So one of the nice parts about this whole thing is that York County had the greatest participation in this project of any other county that we've seen. Not by a little, by a lot. And I'm going to show you some stuff. I'm also going to get to some stuff that we've uncovered that we really weren't paid to do. But when I found it, I talked with Kelly, I shared it with Kelly, and if anything today, I want you guys to walk out of here just absolutely shocked and disgusted. Seriously, okay? Because I am. What we did is, you know, I'm an engineer, and I ran the engineering part of this. And as Kelly said, you know, we had 200 plus organizations that requested technology action plans. And our job was to do a feasibility study and design that would encompass providing connectivity or providing a design of connectivity to all those organizations. And being a local guy and having a local team, we said, you know, we're not going to stop there because we know that there's other organizations that could potentially benefit from having extremely high speed, inexpensive broadband. So what we did is along the way, we basically targeted 500 plus organizations, actually 561 to be exact. And those are just the organizations. They're not all the buildings that they have. And when I told Kelly and I tell everybody is, it's not 561 that would benefit. That number is 4 times that if it stops there. We met over in Hanover yesterday and R.H. Shepard came and said, you know, you have me marked down as one organization. I have like 6 to 7 buildings that, and he told me when I get to these numbers, he's like, I'm paying on that high scale. Okay, they're paying that. So we know there's a significant benefit. And what we did is we analyzed existing telecommunication structure, basically poles, because we don't want people to come back and say, well, you know, you have to cross rivers, you have to go underground, stuff like that. We know where all the telecommunication structure is. And we came up with 1,200 plus aerial miles of fiber design. So if somebody wanted to build to all these organizations, we have all the maps to show them exactly how to do it. So they can't come back and say, we can't do this, or it's more expensive. And I'll go through the costs later on. Also understood that, you know, people haven't seen the technology action plans yet, but I'm going to show you a few maps. We did 800 maps. Everybody who requested a technology action plan has a map of the closest pole that they need to be on to get fiber into their location, their closest upstream and downstream neighbor that requested a technology action plan, and all the locations within a 7-mile radius of them that either showed interest or we identified. Okay, and they're detailed. So what was really important about York County? York County had 271 of those 561 organizations. That's crazy. The closest one was 75 organizations, 271. And it would require approximately 117 aerial fiber miles to reach all those organizations that we targeted, both from a technology action plan perspective and the ones that we already know. What's really interesting as we look at some of these counties and these communities is that there are sections of the areas that are more conducive for connectivity or building this connectivity than others. And anytime you see this number, which is the organizations, much greater than this aerial fiber miles, the math tells you the story. It's going to be cheaper per organization to build, for example, the core county area. And I'll get to the cost. And again, paying attention to that, the other one was about 50%, I think, something like that. Look at York City. Look how many 75 organizations with only 25 aerial fiber miles. And I know you're going to ask, how much that's going to cost per aerial fiber mile, but I'll get into that. In contrast, we only had 12 organizations in the southern New York area. Now, again, we didn't pay attention to all organizations in an area. If we didn't have somebody that requested a technology action plan in that area, we didn't go down and design around it. It doesn't say that there's not people down there that wouldn't benefit from it. But in the southern area, it takes a long way to get down to those organizations. And actually, these guys are probably some of the ones that need it the most because they don't have the infrastructure. Hanover was the second community. York County was the only county that actually had 2 target communities that were part of the DCED grant. Hanover's another really good one. 30 organizations with only 14 aerial fiber miles. I will tell you this. We left the meeting yesterday. The borough of Hanover said, you know what? We're going to talk about building this thing ourselves. It's exactly what they said, which is really what I wanted to hear anyway. So the other thing we did for York County, because for those of you that may have been in the first one, I've had an inkling all along because I travel back and forth and I drive all the time from York County down to BWI Airport. And the traffic coming out of York County is worse than the Beltway. It's horrible and it's increasing, which really goes against everything that's happening in the United States. And not just the United States, but here. So I'm going to start here, which I hate not being able to walk around. We asked a question, how many people telecommute, which means work from home? Look at the percentage in Doylestown. 77% of the respondents say they telecommute, they work from home, which is what we heard earlier, which is important. Look at York County, the bottom of the list. You know why? I'm going to show you what happens to this county and over into Hanover as well. So then we said, how many people work in the Baltimore, D.C. metro area? 26% of both southern York and southern Adams County. Anybody know what the population is of those 2 areas? No, it's not. It's 100,000 people. 100,000 people in southern York and Adams County. So in the technology action plan for the county, because there's just too much information to show, but to do simple math, I was really nice. I said the average family is 4 people. So I'm saying, okay, out of those 100,000 residents, really comes out to about 25,000 households. Take 26% of that and figure out how many people leave this county every day. Spend all their money down there. Drive 2-3 hours down, spend all their money, on food and doing their dry cleaning and everything else they care. Get back here at 7 o'clock at night and are too tired to do anything. They don't spend their money here. So my thought was right. My theory was right that these people leave. The other thing that we found out is a significantly high portion of these people say they can't work remotely because of data security requirements, which for those people that were in this room, I said, we need to build direct fiber glass from here to the top 20 cybersecurity contractors down in D.C. And in the technology action plan, it's really interesting for York County. Anybody want to take a guess how many of the top 500 cybersecurity firms are in Pennsylvania? Anybody want to take a guess? 2. You know how many are down in the D.C. Baltimore area? 50% of them. 50% of the top 500 nationwide. So again, my theory's right. Whether anybody pays attention to it, the numbers are in the technology action plan too of what it costs to build down there as part of an extension to UFD, but it's real. It's going to keep the people here. It's going to keep the jobs here and the money here. If not, they're just going to keep on going without the infrastructure. So York County is a little bit differently. I hope you guys understand this and appreciate, what's going on with it. So what we did is we said, okay, well, let's take all these areas of the county that we came up with. We know the average cost per aerial fiber mile of new construction. That means a pole's there, but you have to put up new fiber. It's about $30,000, not including electronics, because electronics are all over the place. And we know that overlash, which means there's an existing wire there that somebody can just put fiber up there and attach to it, costs about $15,000 a mile. Typically, I would say probably 75% of the poles we analyze already have lines on them. I mean, the poles are there to have lines on them. So what's really interesting about York County is York County, and especially the city, had the lowest cost per organization to build. Look at those numbers. And I can't, in the overlash, it's $5,000 an organization. $5,000. We have cities and townships that spend more money on parks than they would to build this kind of an infrastructure. And the parks don't keep people here. They don't. That's what's real. So now I'm going to get into what I hope just shocks you, honestly. So we said we were a little bit late in the game, but we surveyed all the technology action plans and respondents and said, tell us what you're paying today. Tell us what you're paying. And unfortunately, we only had about 26% respond, which if we would have had more, it would have been a better sampling, but the sampling we got is real. This, we don't list the companies. I'm not going to tell everybody who's overpaying and who's not. There's people in this room that are. I will tell you that. Look at all these rates. Look at how all over the place they are. They're all over the place. And if you see on the upside, to do speeds up, it's like 5 times what it is on down. And again, we found people that were buying a gig already, and pay attention to this number, $3.94. That's like one of the best numbers. To people that were paying, buying 100 meg. I can't figure this one out. But pay attention to these numbers as I move to the next slides. What we did is we then graphed all of York counties and compared it to gigabit cities over here. Anybody paying attention to this legend here? This is in dollars. This literally is in cents. 7 cents in Chattanooga for a gig. 7 cents per meg. That's $870 a year. Even Mexico City is 70 cents. Drug capital of the world, 70 cents. Pretty crazy. So we didn't really want to beat up a lot of people, so we said, you know what, we're going to average all this out. We're going to take the average of what everybody gave us across all the counties that we had, and we came up with the average download rate of $9.30 a meg. The average upload, $14 plus. Here's the average educational rate, which, as Kelly said, Deliker has done aggregation projects, which aggregate for the IUs and things like that. They buy a lot better. They're buying at $1.72 for a gig. Well, that company before was paying almost $4 for a gig. Here. So we said, okay, what happens if in York, we take all the people in York County, if they were paying the average, what would they pay for a gig? Look at this number. I can't even see what that is, Kelly. What is that? 350 grand a year? If they were buying a gig, $350,000. Even these guys down here would be paying 25. The best buyers, $25,000 a year. And in Chattanooga, $870. Now for the really good stuff. So we said, okay, let's just say we have 561 organizations that we analyzed, and they all wanted a gig at the average rates, which they all want a gig. And right now they'd pay the average rate. They would spend $60+ million annually on broadband. Just those 561 organizations. So then we got nice and we said, well, we'll give them the education rate. Still 11 million a year. And then we said, okay, well, let's give them what they really want, Chattanooga, 471,000 a year. We are being discriminated against in broadband here. And as long as it's like this, we're not going to have anybody move into this area. That's a fact. We have everything but we have cheap labor, we have cheap housing, we have cheap power, and we got really expensive internet. Nobody's going to move here. No tech company. Why would they? So hopefully that opens some eyes, because the nice part about being an engineer, this is all quantitative data. I didn't make it up. People gave me this information. So thanks for coming. We'll answer questions after that. See ya.
Nothing like an engineer. They just lay it out. So that's the national story. 16 American communities, not cities, have $870 a year gigabit. The big national thing is $100 gigabit. If you had $100 gigabit, that's $1,200 a month. $100 times 12 months is $1,200, which is a little bit more expensive than $870. But would anybody in here be happy with $1,200 a year gigabit? Our big passion is libraries in this project, or one of our big passions, because they serve underserved populations. But libraries have a tough time buying gigabit connections if they cost $300,000 a year. Like a lot of fundraisers. That's a lot of hoagie sales. That's a lot of book sales to be able to put a gigabit into a library so they can serve their community. So we got a lot of work in front of us, and we're not here to bash any one company. All of us that bought our cars, you know, had a little, anybody ever buy a car before? And one thing about the internet is that it's increased buyer education for the acquisition of vehicles, right? Does anybody go buy a car now without checking out some prices? Well, what was it like 10 years ago or 15 years ago when we went to bought a car? And remember ASRP? Was that MSRP? Does anybody pay MSRP anymore? But you remember trying to haggle down from MSRP? Am I right? So one of our goals of the project is to raise awareness of what a gigabit is, 1,000 megabits, and why it's important, and what other people are doing in that technology center called Mexico City or Chattanooga. Is anybody here getting up and moving to Chattanooga? But I can tell you companies are. What did they create? 5,000 jobs in the last 12 months. Would York County like to create 5,000 jobs in the next 12 months? Chattanooga has a story to tell. And are they telling it? They're spending a boatload of money on marketing to talk about $870. I can't even say it. John, could you say it?
870.
Yesterday, someone was talking to me about baud rates. That's when you can hear it going, I guess, right? What is a baud rate, John? I was like...
You know, honestly, I don't know.
Anyway, that was when we talked about 56K, and then they dialed back to baud rates. That's when birds fly back and forth, I guess. We've got a great partner with the Pennsylvania National Guard. They're in every single action plan. They do great work, and we want to help them get jobs so they continue to do their part-time work serving us. And I just want to call that out. Bill, thank you for bringing them up. They're in every single technology action plan. For our educational providers, they can educate the Guard. and then for workforce training companies to educate the Guard, and then for employers to hire them. Every community that we're in, we're trying to find partners. We're trying to find champions that are going to take this and talk to their neighbors and talk to their other business colleagues and share this information. So we're very, very pleased to have the York County Economic Alliance knee deep with us in this project. To go forward is so important. This plan, I wrote most of these, or many of these, and my other partners helped me write all these. It took a lot of research to put these together, but this plan doesn't solve anything. And John's engineering studies don't solve anything. You do. All of you watching this show, you're the ones who are going to change it in Pennsylvania, not me and not John. UFD is going to be part of the solution, but you have to solve it. You've got to share the information. You got to get more people involved in this revolution. And you got to get the economic development people to understand how important this is. There's only a few counties where we have even the chamber involved. But we're very pleased to have Lauren helping us out here, and I want to give Lauren a chance to give an update on his side. Lauren, thanks so much.
Thank you, Kelly. My comments will be mercifully brief, but don't take that as a misinterpretation of our enthusiasm. The York County Economic Alliance, York County's Chamber of Commerce and Economic Development Organization, is extremely excited about the potential that this represents in terms of retaining jobs, developing new jobs, attracting companies, and growing this economy. Our first step will be aimed toward spreading the gospel. We have a conduit that will be useful, I think, in getting out to our business community and helping them understand the nuances of this and understand the economics. It's interesting to me as I talk to some business owners that they truly don't get it. It's, well, I got internet already. Why do I need any more? Well, I think we have an opportunity and responsibility working with the manufacturers, with Mantech and other organizations. We'll push this out. Monday, the Partnership for Economic Development of York County, PEDIC, one of our member agencies, has a meeting. And at that meeting, we will be presenting this concept to work collaboratively to push the information out to the community, help educate the business people. And then the second step is to try to gather together strategic alliances to develop possible deals that we can and drive affordable, accessible internet for all. So appreciate the opportunity. Thank you. And Rob, we will be talking.
So we're coming back in May for a meeting. Like I mentioned, April 29th, we're getting the RFD results. And Delaker Strategies is going to put them all together for each organization to present back. We're coming back in May for a meeting, and I want to see twice as many people in York County here. I want to see 200 people in the room in York County. It's all going to be up to you, Rob. I'm on it. And Lauren, and the commissioners. You got to spread the word that this is important to your community. We don't have enough young people here. I'd drop some cuss words if I could. Because they're the ones that is the most important for. And they understand this better than I do. My daughter understands this better than I do. And for them to work here in 20 years and 10 years, for them to work here, they have to have this. They have to have glass fiber to work here in the next 10 years. Or they're going to Chattanooga. Do they have an airport there? So we've had young people in some of the other county meetings, but not enough here. We actually had York Technical Institute do a road trip down to Hanover yesterday. A professor brought his class to the meeting because he said, if we don't do this, they're not going to work here. We're going to export. One thing I've said for 15 years of my political life is Pennsylvania's #2 in one thing in the country. exporting college graduates. Thank goodness for Ohio, right? They beat us in that category. But we export college graduates. That's not something to be proud of. And the one reason is right here. If you want to have a technology industry that's better than any in the world, we got to solve this problem. I'm very pleased that you all came out tonight. Please stay engaged, get more people. I want 200 people in May. Bernadette, do you want 200 in May? Heather, do you want 200 in May? Jim? Absolutely. Thanks so much. Have a good day.